The ceremonial brew.
Are we starting?
Yeah.
Have we begun?
We're live.
Hello.
This is it.
It's a beautiful day in Santa Barbara.
Yes, it is a beautiful
Air
day.
cheers.
Yes.
Oh, you haven't opened yours
I haven't
yet.
opened mine yet because I'm still trying to figure
Jumping the
this
gun.
out. Okay.
Is this your first ever outdoor podcast?
Yeah, this is definitely the first outdoor podcast.
Well, I'm honored to be a part of it.
Trying to maintain that 6 feet while staying in frame. This is a new adventure.
How's it feeling?
Feels good, man. This is like the first one I've done in a while. I kind of back cataloged a lot of the last podcasts, and I'm officially done. So this is kind of just like me trying to figure it out.
And we're among the first human beings either of us have been in near touch with. You're getting a phone call. Do you
I
wanna-
know. No, I'm okay.
Just let it go.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
letting it go.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, so I am getting a phone call. But yeah, this is like I haven't really hung out with anyone.
How's your stay-at-home life been? What have you been? How have you been passing the time?
I've just been playing a lot of music and
New stuff, old stuff?
yeah, I've been playing I've been trying to write, and then Raphael's been sending me tracks.
Oh,
so
cool.
I've been working on his songs too, and he sends me drums, bass, and his vocals, and then I put them through the GarageBand. And I just record my guitar parts and send it back to him.
Excellent.
That's like the new way. That's the new normal
Back
of
and
recording,
forth.
I guess.
No, yeah. My friend Nick and I have a project called Bygone, Pecan,
Yeah.
and we wrote a song recently the same way, just sending loops and
Stems
over emails.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's how the Postal Service did it. That's how many of the greats have done it.
Yeah, it's just my first time doing it that way. You know, you're so used to being in the same room and like feeling the vibes off each other, and like, oh, what about this, or what about this tone, and now it's just like blindly going into the session and being like, I think this sounds good.
Well,
I think this guitar, I don't know, and then yeah.
Well, what do you mean? Because I don't know. The way I've recorded, granted, you and I come from different genres of music, but
Yeah.
mine's been a lot of at home, and then I would send it to someone, and they would lay something down, or they would send me something, and I would lay something down. But it's largely been remotely and kind of computer based in that way. So I guess I'm somewhat used to it on a level.
Yeah,
Do you love it or hate it, or neither?
I don't know. I like being in the room and like throwing ideas around and and like, yeah, just getting feedback. You know,
Yeah.
I think feedback's been like my latest strength.
Feedback's been your latest strength?
Yeah, accepting feedback and
Oh.
like trying to take it and use it and grow from it. But like, it wasn't always like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I feel like for myself, starting out, any feedback I might have taken really defensively.
Yeah.
And it was a mix of pride and insecurity of like you want to be so certain, but also like, yeah, is it good? And over time, you kind of learn that it's a listening process for everyone, including the creator, and that you can't always hear your own.
That's true.
You can't always hear it accurately.
It's true. You definitely need like a second set of ears, third set of ears, like to just understand like the project. Because if you're too close to it, it all starts to sound the same. Especially if you're listening to the same like 10 songs over and over again, like in a session, then it gets like really tough.
How upset or how many listens do you need to go through a song, do you feel, until you know it's done?
I don't know, man. So doing this podcast, I kind of get like different answers from people and like understanding that like the song's never really done.
Yeah.
And for some people it's like that, and for me it's like I'm really in this space of being bare, like less is more type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I say that, but then I like put strings and shit on on the record, so it's like.
Well, one of my favorite Dante sets that I saw was the one when you played at, I think it was Echo Park Rising, and you played in a spot near Mohawk Bend, and it was just a 3-piece where you were Were you on drums? And then there was electric piano. I believe it was Glossy's.
Yeah. Eric from Glossy's was on piano. Ralph played bass.
Yeah.
Rafa Rose, and I was on drums, and that was fun. That was at Space Dust in Echo Park.
Are they still around?
They're still around. Yeah, they were the.
Shout out to Space Dust.
I guess they were the main people who made my buttons in the past, and now she's no longer making buttons.
What's she making?
I don't know. Everything else now. It's like a clothing store.
Do you have?
But they're my main plug for buttons. My button plug.
Did you did you have a lot of buttons on your backpack in high school?
No, that
or your
wasn't.
jacket?
Oh no, that was never really a thing for me.
Not for you.
No, I didn't really get into buttons until I started playing shows in LA, and I was like, wow, everyone's band has like buttons. Like,
They sell well in LA?
you know, I usually just give them out.
Yeah.
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 It's better promo
It's
if
a
you
gesture.
just give them out.
Yeah. And you know, it's sort of a threat because they're very sharp. So
Yes,
it's sort
I
of
stepped
like
on one earlier.
Ah, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
A
no.
rusty one in my room.
A rusty one.
I have one that says Old Galita Days from 1976.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
And that's
they
when
don't
that
even
stabbed you?
celebrate Galita anymore.
What's there to celebrate? It's one of the best. I mean, here we are in Tucker's Grove.
Yeah,
and then
Tucker's
this
Grove.
magical wind is blowing through.
I hope that doesn't sound awful on the mic. It might. Who knows?
You know, you're gonna be dropped from your Galita Chamber of Commerce job as soon as it drops. The
Yeah, I
city
think-
won't have you anymore. No, I
think,
mean it's like, well, I had the Lemon Festival here growing up,
True.
and for us, I think it felt kind of comical. But when my mom grew up here over off of Patterson, hers was the last house before the Lemon Groves.
Oh, wow.
And then it was just pretty much Lemon Groves all the way to Dos Pueblos, I think.
Oh, wow.
And now we just have a fraction of that, so it's sort of like, oh, Galita, like, you're silly. Like, but it has a real big agricultural history, and so
Yeah.
much of the magic of the area, like many places, is sort of bygone or
That's true.
nostalgic. You know, it's like, if only you knew Galita back in the day when it was really quiet. You know, you could walk, you could hear for miles.
Yeah. Yeah, man, Galita. Galita back in the day, that's where you had to have been here.
Speaking of,
We're talking Galita 1992.
we're drinking a local
yeah.
local brew, Figueroa Mountain.
We're open to more sponsorships. I haven't gotten a single sponsorship on this damn podcast, but I've been promoting people's beers.
What others have you enjoyed?
We did the Golden Road, like
Nice.
melon
LA.
cart, like variety pack, and then I think we did White Claws for like a handful of them too.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, White
So-
Claw, I think a lot of people are probably trying to crowd into that market.
To the how do you feel about the seltzer, the hard seltzer market?
It's tasty. I think when it came out, I thought it was a little cruel because for many, I think seltzer is a way to recover from drinking. And then
Yeah.
then comes this sneaky new product that's like, hey, let's just remind you of this temptation, but otherwise, why not? You know, the more options, the better.
True.
I'm so glad we live in an era where it's acceptable for just about everyone to have a wide variety of alcohol tastes instead of like, "Ugh, that's a girl's drink.
Yeah.
Drink a
We
bud.
definitely live in a better time. Like when I first started drinking when I was like 18, you know.
Oh, yeah?
There weren't.
Are you cops listening? 'Cause
But you know what I mean. Like when I first started drinking, when I turned 18, so like 2008, right when I graduated high school, like there weren't options.
what
you
was
drink-
your option? Mad
You
Dog?
drink
or-
like Budweiser or Budweiser. Like that was
Yeah.
it. And if we wanted to get fancy, we'd buy Newcastle.
Ooh.
Like that was fancy then.
I remember, thinking that was like, ooh, this is like
Ooh,
exotic.
Tastes actually is flavored.
Imported? Yeah.
And then I felt like, oh, I'm a man who drinks a flavored beer. That's me. you know?
And did you feel self-conscious about it?
No, but I just thought I was better than others. You know,
When
I
well,
don't drink a Budweiser. I drink Newcastle.
my first experience at a bar, ordering a drink at a bar, was when I was 20 in Cambridge, UK. I studied abroad there,
Yeah.
and I remember going up to the bartender, acting all assertive. I don't remember what I ordered. I think I
You
was
have
just
to bring
like,
that energy though.
I'll have a whiskey sour, or
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like, give me a
yeah.
whiskey sour, and she was just like, can you say please? And then that, completely cut me down in a good way, which was great. And ever since that stupid one attempt, I always try to say please. It's like,
Yeah,
of course,
for sure.
like
Yeah.
the bravado of ordering a drink is so dumb.
I know.
And
yeah.
having worked in
How
the
old are
wine
you?
industry, 20.
You were 20. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really begin drinking till I went to Cambridge. That was my first real time enjoying it. But what was I? Oh yeah, in the wine industry, there occasionally you get people who just kind of huff and puff and order around and act like she'll have the white, and then it's like, no honey, I don't actually want. Hey, I'll tell you, like, you like Chardonnay, you're a lady, and I'll stick with a cab, please. Fuck you. Not even. But
actually, in the last podcast I just dropped with Sam France, we talked about the funk zone.
Any secrets spilled? Any funk?
He didn't know what that area was called because he had played in Santa Barbara. Foxygen played in Santa Barbara like 2013-ish, and he's like, oh yeah, what was that area? And I was like, it's like kind of by the beach, and then I started going off about it's actually called the funk zone. So
he was intrigued.
In whatever words you can, Richie, Ella, what does the funk zone mean to you?
Well, for me personally, it was a place I was lucky to work in for a while, and a unique slice of life that I was lucky to be exposed to. It was sort of this revival of a part of Santa Barbara that many might otherwise overlooked or ignored, and suddenly to be a part of this, suddenly we're hip and gourmet and sought after by LA. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it did rub off a little bit. I'm like, hey, like, this is surreal and cool. Like, I didn't know you could have this kind of adult fun in Santa Barbara. So it was, but it's, you saw a lot of the less flattering side of humanity there, but also some of the most flattering side of just like generosity of spirit and people who enjoy life in all its sensual pleasures. But I don't know. I mean, like a lot of things in this town, it's sort of, how do you say? Well, it's I mean, there's so many ways to slice it, but basically it's funky in name only. Maybe that's a gentle way to.
Well, the way I explained it to Sam was that like it kind of followed that Brooklyn blueprint of gentrification.
Yeah.
Like exposed brick, winery, brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a artisanal pizza place. Like.
Well, it's sort of like nationally, a lot of places had an equivalent of a funk zone pop up of like, all of a sudden we have a highbrow approach to beer. We've got a cheese selection. We can charge higher prices for our lattes, and this is what we want. That's like the kind of curated look that a lot of communities went for, whether it was in Texas or Oregon.
True.
And our version was the funk zone. And we have a nice sea breeze that wafts through, so it adds a bit of flair there. But, it's a different world. It's not even, like, especially with the new hotels that opened up, and it's kind of really exploded.
It's become something, like, really weird with all those hotels. It's less like this is like a cool part to hang out in Santa Barbara, downtown Santa Barbara. It's like, I don't know, what the hell is this for now? Is this for tourists? Is this for locals? Like, what is this area now? It's just like one big monstrosity of like new buildings and that I don't know. But who knows? Maybe it's not for me. I don't know.
I mean,
it's not for people like me to go and spend my money at those places.
But you DJ there. I'll
take
vicinity.
Money from those places, but I will not spend my money there.
True. And like many places in Santa Barbara, of course, it's a story of evicting those who were there so that a more wealthy class of outsiders can kind of congregate there. But this is the story of many places.
The one thing with the funk zone is that like there wasn't really anyone there. Though.
Sorry. Yeah.
Like I lived there in 2008 when my house was flooded, and the insurance was like, here's some money to go live in. We lived in hotels for like my first couple months, and that's when I was going to CC. Like, and we lived in hotels right next to CC, and then City College, and then we moved to the Funk Zone down the street, and there was like, it was just literally dirt and gravel lots. So it's really crazy to kind of see that area, like, I don't know, straight up build buildings from scratch.
Well, many of us, I think, my probably first real time there was spent at Mark's wood studio.
Oh shit!
You know, like,
Yeah.
and that was a different corner. That was the funk. That was funk in its darker sense, like
Yeah.
a funky smell. I mean, a
There was-
wonderful, really cool cavern of artistry off
Yeah.
that gravel pit parking
Yeah.
lot, where a lot of music got made, a lot of tapes were laid, a lot was recorded, but I don't think they could survive the rent like anywhere, right?
No, I think he's gone. Yeah. Mark, if people don't know, it was this massive warehouse in it's still there. I don't know who bought it, but a bunch of bands would practice in it illegally. We could say that because it's no longer around.
Stones, Hendrix, Dylan,
It was like
everyone.
It was like me and Gardens and Via shared a room, and then Gardens and Via moved to LA, and then without telling us, we just got demoted to another room, and all of our gear was moved into a smaller room.
Whoa.
And we were like, who touched all of our stuff, and how come our key doesn't work? It was just like very sketchy, and things kind of just happened there.
That's cause for concern. Yeah.
I mean, just like moved or happened because the guy lived there. Which is like kind of felt okay because you're like, okay, well, at least someone's here. So, but like it was really weird, man. And we got drunk there a lot. I had a weird night there for Adam from Gardens and Via, the keyboard player. It was his 30th birthday or maybe 32nd. I can't remember. But I got blacked out drunk there. Yeah, it was a weird night.
One of the greatest and weirdest nights I had is it was Fiesta, and I may or may not have had a certain how do you say, a certain thing under my tongue over the course of the day twice, and the day brought me there to see my younger brother Anthony's band perform, and Mark came up and unleashed the longest, most heartfelt harmonica solo this side of the Mississippi, and it was I think my brain broke from the kind of cosmic laughter I was feeling. I was just like, this is too much. This is way too much.
Yeah. It was a weird place, man, and where a lot of drugs took place and a lot of alcohol
a lot of
was
drugs
drank.
took
and,
us there. Yeah,
a lot of weird jams, like people just jamming in the other room, and you're just like, oh, but Clean Spill had the room next to us, so that was like fun. It was like got to hear them jam a lot, and there's like a little bit of like a crew there, but
it's like our 1970s New York. It's like how much are
in the worst way. In the worst way. It was not cool. It was not Andy Warhol's factory.
That my uncle was part of that scene.
Yeah.
And he played in the Velvet Underground as their drummer for the Primitives. And my dad was at a Warhol loft party, and he was like, Debbie Harry was there, Lou Reed was there, but he was serving in the Army at the time at an officers club, and he was just like, yeah, they were just other people, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he's like, I don't know who these guys are, he was just a party, and I love that. It was like a very Forrest Gump moment, like being there in history and just being like,
how'd I get here?
Yeah.
Yeah, such a Forrest Gump moment, man.
What's your most Forrest Gump moment that you would say?
I don't know.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Like, there's a few times where, my buddies worked at the Echo. My buddy BG worked at the Echo, and he's like, hey, come over. We know of a party going on after the show. And I was with Kevin Massinari. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I think Mac DeMarco and everyone's coming after the show. And I was like, all right, cool. So it was like maybe 1:30 in the morning, and we were trying to find this random-ass house. And yeah, we eventually found it. And Ty Segall was there. The Pangea dudes were there, and Mac DeMarco's band was there. And that was one of those moments where we were just like hanging next to each other because we literally knew no one at that party. But we were just like, we're blending in. We're one with, you know.
Well, the thing is, you're
we
not
didn't get
even.
home till-
You're no different than them. You're just a.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all but you know, the Southern California concentric circles
Yeah.
of music, like a lot of us are sharing those circles, like knowingly or not, but also just they're people just like you, and
Totally.
they're a little further in their music journey, but I think you're, you know, same level, same caliber, and it's just kind of those more universal connectivity things where you're like, oh, what the fuck, like. Life
Yeah.
brought me within a few feet of Mac DeMarco. To me, I'd be like, oh, that means your guys' journeys are,
We're close.
however tangentially intertwined.
Totally. The best part was when Kevin Massinari went up to Ty Segall and said, "Hey man, you should play in Santa Barbara," and he just looked at him and was like, "Sure."
Yeah, no, and well, because
it's kind of really awkward.
well, but it's like because when you mention Ty Segall, my mind goes to like, oh yeah, I remember there was this record shop in Eagle Rock on Colorado Boulevard, and he was friends with one of the co-owners, and they were there just chatting one day when I tried dropping off cassettes
Yeah.
of the first Voices of Where album, and just like I knew him in the sense of like, oh, he's suddenly this guy in LA who I just see here and there.
Yeah.
And that like you through the virtue of your own self importance come to feel I kind of know this guy.
yeah.
No, you don't.
You know nothing about him,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
in your mind, you're like,
oh yeah, you know, Ty and I saw him at the record shop.
Yeah,
and
you know,
I don't
just
listen to
your
his
average-
music. I saw him at what's FYF.
yeah.
Saw him at FYF
Did
2008 or whatever.
Did
Whenever it
we
was.
go to FYF that year together?
Did we?
2013, I think. I've only been to
Oh,
FYF
2013.
once.
Yeah. So I was there. Who played? We're talking
Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter. No, so I saw Grimes,
Okay, maybe we didn't go the same year then.
who recently had a child. So
Yeah.
full circle, you know. I wasn't too far from her on that stage, so basically
Maybe we didn't go
I'm
the same year
like-
then.
her aunt, the aunt, I mean the aunt, uncle,
Yeah.
of
Ash
A12.
A12. Yeah. Did you see
This
how
podcast
Elon?
is dedicated to you, young one.
Did you see Elon explain the name on Rogan?
Mm-mm.
It's like that AE makes an ash sound. A12 was his contribution, which is like a type of plane.
Mm-hmm.
And then the X, I think, makes a different sound too. I think a chai ash A12. I don't know.
Triash A12.
Something like that.
Cool.
It's pretty
Welcome to
wild.
the world.
Yeah, welcome to the world.
I mean, I don't know. This is all going to be put in a time capsule for that baby, and then
Yeah.
on their
That's-
21st birthday, they will get to celebrate legal drinking in the USA and see firsthand all the analysis
That's like
of the
what's
world.
that's
gave
so
to
weird
their
with
name.
these like celebrity kids, you know.
These kids these days.
And this may bring down the mood, but I will talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, Melissa Etheridge had a child with David Crosby. Did you know about that?
Big Cross,
The
he's
Big
known
Cross,
to.
Santa Barbara connection.
Mm-hmm. It's all. Yeah.
That was the sperm donor for Melissa Etheridge. He died, like yesterday.
I saw what happened.
I think it was a drug overdose, but they didn't say which drug.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but that's like one of those kids. You always heard about that story, and you're like, whoa, because it was like artificial insemination with David Crosby. That's kind of cool. And then, yeah.
And now you have like a life story, beginning, middle, end.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Terrible
he was only
to say.
21 years old. But yeah, exactly, because you always wonder how these children in the limelight, how it's going to play out for them. I don't know. It was just something I thought about yesterday.
Well, we are you and I both recently had birthdays, so we are
Yeah.
fortunate to be celebrating and lucky
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
able
I'm-
to enjoy our life still while someone younger has sadly left the earth. I mean, that's a horrible thing.
I think that's like what changed my opinion on birthdays, because I always hated birthdays, and every year I was like, oh, I'm just getting older. This sucks. Like,
yeah, a lot of people feel that way.
yeah, until you have like a moment like someone dying, or a moment where you almost die, where you're like, oh, this is actually good. Like, I made it another
That they
year.
died?
No.
Oh, no, yeah.
That I didn't die.
Yes,
you know?
no, yes,
it's like
of course.
I made it to 30. Holy shit. Like,
It's
a
a
lot of people
victory.
didn't make it to 30. And I'm still here. It's just crazy. It's a blessing, and I am thankful, and I'll never curse another birthday again. So this year when I turned 30, like, people kept asking me, like, how do you feel, man? Like, 30, like, scary. I'm like, it feels great.
No, I
made it to
I had
30.
a private laugh to myself because the other night I watched one of your podcasts with Maxton, I believe.
Oh yeah, Maxon.
Who's younger? Yes.
Yes.
22. And
Yeah.
you in the video are 29, and
Yeah.
you're both talking about being in your 30s someday and doing this rock and roll thing, and how
Yeah,
you just
what's it
don't know
like?
if you can keep. Whoo, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Every day is
And
it's
I
just
laughed
one day
'cause
at
I'm
a time.
32.
Yeah.
And so I know, I know all the horrors and pain that's about to face you as a musician starting a few days ago.
Yep.
So it just gets worse.
Yeah, it gets tougher. It's gonna get tougher. It's gonna get. I don't know.
What
I don't know what to
aspects
expect.
get harder for you?
I think just like trying to be, trying to make money with my art is gonna get harder, as
Yeah.
I will have more responsibilities, and if things get more serious with my partner, like how. Like, I'm going to have to get a job if things get more serious, you know?
Sure.
And it's like, especially now with this COVID nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
can't tour.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was like a decent part of my income last year was touring.
Yeah.
And now I can't do that. So, you
Well,
know,
there are
just trying to find ways online to make money with the Patreon, trying to get this YouTube thing off the ground. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just kind of, it's all money. But other than that, like, being fulfilled, like, as long as I keep writing music that I like, I'm going to put it out. But if I don't like it anymore, then I'll stop.
Do you think music dreams would, or no? Do you think music would the journey of a musician be similarly painful without money? Not similarly, but like parallelly. Like, would you run
Yes.
into similar anguishes in your 30s if money weren't an issue?
Yeah, if money was an issue and you're in your 30s and you're making music, I think it would still be hard depending on where you were at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're still playing these shows and you don't feel like, well, people aren't showing up or people aren't doing this, and it's people just aren't connecting with it, that would be hard, because that's the other part. Money is an issue, but also feeling fulfilled and that people are enjoying it and people want it is another issue of trying to reach an audience, because that's the other reason why you do it. You do it for yourself, but you also want people to like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's like the other problem. But yeah, I think if there was no money involved, that it'd still be hard, because you want to put out good stuff that people listen to.
Yeah.
And the way that social media and all that is placed is that you see every number. So it's like there's all these metrics that you're like trying to live up to, and it makes things really hard, because you're comparing yourself to other people, and that also brings you down. Which is also something like I when I was younger, I was easier at like not paying attention to that stuff. But as I've gotten older, I'm now paying attention more to that stuff, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad when you're just looking at other people get these like 100,000 streams, 50,000, these big stream numbers, and you're just like, shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think for my music, I have about, well, certainly less than 20.
Yeah.
Maybe 11 listeners or something.
Yeah.
And I'm very, like, privately proud of my music.
Yeah.
But then publicly pursuing that just causes such feelings of discomfort in me, and also maybe preemptive defeat, but mostly just like, this doesn't feel right. This feels weird to be the promoter and the musician and the business all in one. so I don't, I don't quite attend to it very much to my own detriment. But I also, I had a moment the other day where someone posted about their child. I think it was their child achieving a certain similarly high number in the Spotify playlists.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I've never even heard of these people.
Yeah.
Probably never will. And why does their number become the sought after target if I'm not participating in that reality? Do you know what I mean? That like, all right, they got like 1 million whatever listens. Like, to think, I mean, even if I were to achieve some large number, billions of people on Earth will have no awareness of my existence and will go to the grave never having heard the music. And those who did listen, I mean, anyways, is it about quantity? Is it about quality? These are the questions of our times.
I don't know,
but the record execs, of course, want to know
that you can, because they're the business.
You can crunch the numbers.
They're the business side, and they want to know that the streams are coming, and that if they press records, they're going to sell, because record labels do not want records sitting in their warehouse.
And so instead, you get the artist who has the records sitting in their warehouse. Like that
happens, yeah.
We were joking a bit earlier, just laughing like old pals.
Just how friends do.
But I noticed in your do you mind me saying this detail?
Go ahead.
'Cause I think it's funny
No,
that
I don't mind.
You had a beat up old copy of your first record, and I'm like, oh yeah, I keep a cassette in my car that's all like destroyed and warped now, but I just hold on to it as a token of my early ambition. Initially thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna give this out, like, the head of Capitol Records is gonna be there and be like, what's this? Like, hold on, guys, like. But as I said to a friend a couple weeks ago, one reason this worldwide crisis has been relieving to me as someone with a lot of anxiety is that, like, prior to this, I was more prone to the delusion that, like, if I were to reveal my art to the world, my music, my expression, it would stop and be like, who is this idiot? Like, oh my God, like, what the F is wrong with this person? Let's all stop and laugh. It's like the world stops when a pandemic hits it. It doesn't stop from you putting your album out. Yeah. People are more likely to rally behind it, or at least be like, cool, man, keep at it.
Yeah,
and but instead there's this fear that, like, oh God, they're gonna imprison me. Well, some extreme thought of like the futility of your dreams is so heinous, you ought to be punished. Anyway, there's a glimpse into my psychology. If any of you guys
I think it's true. I think I've actually found this quarantine to be rather relaxing, and I've gotten to do a lot of work. I've gotten really into like writing and recording and stuff like that, and editing these podcasts, making clips, working on my Photoshop skills, which I taught myself Photoshop like in the last couple months. Like,
did you make that little heart of you on the 30th birthday?
No, that was a Google Duo filter when I was on the Google like a FaceTime thing with Jenny. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But just like working on that kind of stuff and finding time to be alone has been really nice, but also really bad. That's been like here and there.
It's been really good, really bad.
It's been really good, really bad. Like but I found moments where I love it.
I love it.
I fucking love it.
Like what?
I love being alone. I love like not talking to anyone. I love just like working on music. I love just taking a walk whenever I want. Like, today I'm going to go outside,
Yeah.
And it's like just making my own rules, man. That's what I love. I love being my own boss. So this is kind of like that. It's my own boss with no money coming in. That's the only downside, is that I'm not working. I'm not DJing. I'm not doing anything. Spotify money's been great, and Patreon money's been cool. So that's been like helping me. But as far as trying to get this record done, it's damn near impossible trying to pay people to master the record. I want to do album art, like I want to talk to this photographer, but I don't have the money right now until like, so that's like put things on a pause.
Yeah.
But like single art, yeah, I've just been finding old photos that I took on like disposable cameras, and I'm repurposing those photos for single art. So it's just about doing things yourself and making
I
the
bet
best.
people would purchase some limited edition early Reuben, like maybe there's like a drawing you did age 13. You could auction it off.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Just trying to get creative. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's just it's the tough times of our era of okay, well, society's falling apart. Now you need to learn how to sustain yourself in a whole new way.
This is the big society reset.
This is
know?
Yeah. We're
starting over.
I hope so.
Kind of. I don't know. We're going to start over, but also the rich are going to get richer.
There it goes.
You're going to get both.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get, because it's like people are like, oh, well, the cost of houses are going to go down. Yeah, and who has money to buy a house right now? People who already own houses. Like, so they'll just get more property and rent them out to us, and we'll just see more of that.
Well,
but yes, things will get a little cheaper. But if you don't have money, it doesn't matter.
Some folk are saying by year's end, the world consciousness itself will recalibrate to once again prioritize people first,
yeah,
the
I
environment
agree.
second, and profit lastly.
I hope so. Yeah, that kind of seems like the vibe like most people are looking for now in their politicians or in their friends. Businesses.
Yeah, just in their day to day and like God,
the future jobs we apply for, ask them how did they handle the COVID-19 pandemic? Like,
yeah, we're looking at you, future employers.
Future employers. Like, how did you handle that shit?
Do you want another brew, man? Or
If there's
you good?
another one to be had, I'll take it.
This one's got your name on it.
I like that.
That you like?
But how have you been doing with this quarantine? So, okay, before I even start with that question, like, I hate when podcasts talk about it because every podcast is talking about it.
About what?
The quarantine and COVID-19 and people have really bad takes, and it stops me from listening to their podcast. I'm not saying you're about to have a bad take, but I do want to know how you've been dealing with it.
I mean, we're very lucky.
Oh, yeah.
To be here.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky to be here. And, like, I don't know. It has been a blessing for me in so many ways to feel able to slow down and catch my breath. And there is so much suffering going on. So there's a lot of strange discord of, like, I feel revived. I feel rested. I feel able to like think and do things for once. I feel able to work on my pursuits for once and not feel overwhelmed with anxiety or guilt or uncertainty and yet I don't know. It's been a strange disembodied kind of bubble of serenity for me, but feeling like that's a rare experience.
There's been kind of a relief of like, well, I'm not working, but no one's working.
Yeah.
So
no, I was insecure about struggling with jobs, struggling with employment. That was one of my biggest anxieties, and now to kind of realize the extent to which that's out of my hand and the extent to which that's generational.
Makes it feel...
Yeah, and like...
like a little bit like, okay.
Yeah. And
give me a little moment to like figure out what I'm doing. I can figure it out now because everything's on pause.
I'm blessed for that. And yet it's sort of like the world isn't on pause, but it's just been through some quirk of fate. I've been more or less excused to have to participate in a similar manner, and others are all the more having to, they're fucking stuck or they're strangled, and like, I mean, but you asked how I'm doing, and so I'm it's been a very balanced year, which is really lucky for me. I'm very, very blessed, and I'm working on music and doing yoga every day. Well, not every day, but
Yeah.
most days of the week.
Trying.
Most days of the week. And I wasn't able to get to a mat for like 2 years because of how anxious I was. Like,
Yeah.
I was just months before, I could barely get out of bed on a lot of days because
Yeah.
I was so stressed to face the outer world. And to have that moment of reprieve in the initial month of quarantine where you could hear birds, cars were few and far between. That was there will be nothing like that, I guess. Unless this gets worse, then it'll be like that even more so.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable going out really until there's a vaccine.
Well, we're out, aren't we?
We're
like
definitely
what do
out,
you mean going out?
like shows and stuff like that.
Our show's gonna happen.
I don't think so until there's a vaccine. But then again, don't trust the fucking vaccine, dude. They're pumping the virus into you, dude.
Yeah, so why don't we
No,
once
I'm
and
kidding.
for all, like, let's call out Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, but really, I don't know. I don't feel great about, like, I got an email. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this, but I did get an email from Soho, right? Maybe you received it too. It was like one of those BCC or like where she emails everyone. So I don't know who is exactly is on the email, but I got an email from Soho saying that they got the word that they can open soon, right?
I don't think I got this, but haven't
Okay.
checked my email. Might have
So-
been just to you.
No, definitely wasn't,
okay.
because the language was like, I hope all of you can, like, okay, all right, you're talking to a lot of people here, but I think it's, and she's saying that they think they got the word to open soon and they don't know when, and a lot of their touring acts have canceled. So she's hoping that us locals can start playing shows there. Okay, keep in mind, New Year's Eve, we had 400 people there. I don't feel comfortable bringing 400 people together in one room right now.
It's
feel
a
like
really
that's, like-
tough call.
That's, like, not great for the people there, and for me to, like, ask people to do this, like...
Well, I think, just imagining I'm a venue owner.
Of course.
Like
Of course. She's got to drop that email. you
well,
know?
but also, like, music culture wants to continue.
Yeah.
Music as a live experience, I think that wants to continue, and once in a like the push of a zeitgeist feeling, but like imagine you run a venue, you might think, okay, so we could limit a pair of tickets per person and have them at like sanctioned spots across the room, and then limit the capacity.
Yeah.
And that would be, I think, a solution that people could work with, and say bring a bean bag, bring in a chair, like and that is a way I could see a workaround, because I don't want to personally advocate for large groups of people congregating per se, but I also want to like play the devil's advocate of just saying, like,
Yes.
imagine at some point people reach a breaking point where they say, we need live music. We need to either play it or we need to receive it.
We
But
need
like
that rock
we
and
can't.
roll.
We need the fucking rock and roll. It's gonna
About
be a
time.
footloose moment, as a lot of this nation is. It's so funny. It's like they're like old man government ain't letting us dance no more,
Yeah, we
and
can't
we
dance.
gotta get you that. And like,
Well, yeah, I agree. I think there are ways to do it, and I know they have already started talking about that for when that phase of reopening for venues and bars happens,
yeah.
and like getting temperature tested like by the bouncer.
Mm-hmm.
But
One, then it's
Oh,
like
what if I'm running
who's
hot
gonna
that
play
day?
who's gonna play the bouncer, and like
what if I bought tickets to a show and I'm running just a little hot? I don't have a fever, but I'm running a little hot. Are you gonna give my money back?
there might need to be a kind of up to the last minute illness reimbursement clause in a lot of tickets, a sort of insurance. But
Yeah.
can our world live in such a way? Time will tell.
And how long will we be able to do that? How long do we have to live like that? To the vaccine, baby, Bill Gates. Let's go. I'm excited for that. That's what I'm excited for.
But I don't know. I feel strange. I don't want to take any kind of position one way or the other, only because as a citizen of the world, I feel like it's given me another experience to just sort of be very passive and be like, let's just take it day by day. And if they're saying it's time to open up, all right, let's give it that shot for a week. And if it doesn't work, but it's just sort of careful, like, but I don't know. I really don't know. I really have no qualification to say.
No,
I can't
a
say.
Health professional.
I can't say whether it's a good idea or not. I'm like, well, in the logic that a business needs to run, yes, they ought to open because there's no other way around it.
Yeah.
But that's the only logic America has ever been run on, and so many people have died because of it.
Totally.
I don't know.
And I think it's so funny that, like, it now people care about small business. Now. Yeah.
But when I heard,
But when we were, like, hoping for things to change for small business, everyone's like, oh, well, you pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Fuck you, dude.
Fuck the bootstraps,
Fuck
all
the
right?
bootstraps, dude.
Let them die with the baby
now
boomers.
It's like, we need to protect our small businesses. And like, oh, fuck you. How about
Well,
that?
when I heard this proposal again, I'm like, maybe this is, and I'm not by no means am I the first to discuss this, but local economies are becoming more of a thing again. And what if our music venues become exclusively local? And what if what if the Santa Barbara Bowl, for example,
is owned by the city?
I wasn't gonna go there, but sure.
Ooh.
Well, imagine it. Okay, what would you see more of then? Owned by the city.
Owned by the city.
Censor a lot of artwork.
Yeah.
Just a little political commentary for you guys.
If you want to say Santa Barbara, say, like, because, the only NFL team publicly owned, not publicly, I guess, is the Green Bay Packers. They don't technically have an owner. And it's kind of chaos.
Is it chaos?
Kind of.
They have a loyal fan base.
Very loyal fan base because they pay into it.
Yeah.
And they love the team. It'd be the same way with the Santa Barbara Bowl if, like, say, City Hall had to make the decisions on who the bands booked.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible. Unless they appointed people like us and other people in the music industry that, like, in Santa Barbara, actively in the Santa Barbara scene to, like, this is what would work. But it wouldn't
work. Well, let's get
work.
crazy. Let's imagine. Because, like, Toronto, there's a city. That city, for example, they, at least as of several years ago, it's probably changed. I have an outdated knowledge. But I believe you kind of had to, like, audition to play in the subways. To play in the metro.
Yeah, you have to be good.
And then you have to be up to par. And then, like, to be a public musician in many ways is a great service. And maybe people could honor the love towards, there's probably a lot of incredible bands locally that have a loyal enough following that could reasonably fill a dispersed out picnic within the bowl.
Yeah.
And just have a, like, local music celebration. Wouldn't that be cool? I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you have to fill up what is it, 3,000 seats?
They can do it. Get Toad the Wet Sprocket to be top billing. No, but going way back to our earlier part in the discussion regarding music as a business, and I think Dean Dinning and I talked about this. I interviewed him, and then I also interviewed Melissa Etheridge. So we just need to note these, because I didn't have the chance to. But
that's okay.
Well, I did have the chance to, but there's this nice warm breeze. You
I
can't
know.
feel it, but it's amazing. My God!
I'm actually moving my mic, so if this is making noise, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do like a little lay down. Oh, I'm laying down now.
But, like, some of the bands that are doing the best right now are ones that were kind of amongst the last of the CD era. People in the 90s who developed a strong following.
Yes.
And that's another reason why I kind of struggle with, like, Spotify, is because of it's detached from a physical media in most senses, and there's simplicity to just saying like, hey, go buy my CD. That that manner of loyalty with a band and that kind of almost intimacy where you go to the record store, you pick out that one album, you buy it, it's yours, you hold it. Way different. Spotify, it's like you log in, there's this vast sea of music, and it gets scrabbled up with in the other vast sea, and you can hear a bit of what you like strewn out in the kelp with other things you kind of might have liked. I like this, never heard this. But like it's all sort of scrambled. But like back in the 90s, you could still develop like a more one-on-one. What do you mean still? You still can. But back then, I think there was more of a loyalty built through the purchase power of a CD store. Sadly, Morning Glory Music is gone.
Yeah.
Buffalo Records not around anymore. We had a lot of good places here where you could build those relationships with a band, and now it's just it's different. And so people aren't spending that money on a record.
Yeah.
Sorry, I talked a lot.
No, that's okay.
You all right?
I'm thinking about what you were just saying, and then as soon as you started naming off record stores, I like thought of one that I didn't go to, but my mother went to a lot in the 80s, and it was called Licorice Pizza.
Whoa!
And which is a great name for a fucking record store, man.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza. And I have a 7-inch, and I never really noticed like the sleeve. But one day I was at the saloon, and I was like, what does that say? This like weird cursive. And it said Licorice Pizza. I was like, holy shit. So I sent the photo to my mother, and I was like, check this out.
Where were they?
She's like, I haven't seen that logo in a long time. I don't think they're on State Street. I can't remember. It's either Mesa or State Street. I can't remember.
Wow.
Yeah. So crazy. Santa Barbara in the 80s. That's like, I think because my parents are that age, and I've heard about so many stories about Santa Barbara in the 80s that like, I always wonder, what the hell was it like? There's definitely more record stores.
Yeah. Well, I think, every generation.
The Iguana Club.
I have heard about the Iguana Club.
I think that was Soho, right? I think.
Might have been. Yeah.
There's a bunch of venues. And then, the 90s boom happened in Santa Barbara with like Dishwalla getting on MTV and Toad also getting on MTV and signing major label deals, that there was kind of like a, what's happening in that city?
There was also a lot of Kenny Loggins in the late 80s, early 90s. So, like, Santa Barbara, what's funny as Santa Barbara as a scene, as a society, as a place, is for a city of its size, I think relatively it has a bigger cultural impact globally and nationally than others.
Yeah.
Because if you are to say Santa Barbara, that conjures an image in many a mind worldwide. Yeah. And there was a soap opera about this town back in the day. So before we were born, people have been kind of romanticizing it. And I think perpetually it can offer a sense of calm to people. Yep. Because we have our beaches and we have an atmosphere that's unrivaled. And I have a tick. Check it out. However, scientists have studied, and it would seem to be that local ticks do not carry Lyme disease.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, Santa Barbara's like this place where it does get a bad rap, because we've had some weird, we look back.
You watched Alpha Dog the other night.
I did watch Alpha Dog the other night. So we have history like that it just tries to wipe clean.
Yeah.
Like, the city, because in Alpha Dog, they say it takes place in Palm Springs or Palm Desert. Mm-hmm. Santa Barbara said you cannot call it Santa Barbara because the tourist industry is so important here. Like that story.
What's your take on? Oh no, go ahead.
The story of the woman who won a chance to be on Extreme Home Makeover, and then Santa Barbara said no.
I don't know about this.
This happened like maybe when I was in high school or something. And the city just said no. Because we don't want Santa Barbara to look bad or look poor.
And
this woman legitimately need help on her home.
Well, they did get Savoy on diners, drive-ins, and
diners,
divers, and dry.
I like Savoy.
But it's not a diner or a dive. It's an upscale, delicious place.
Yeah,
but
it's actually
it's like got a great salad bar. Yeah, but it's
actually kind of expensive.
It's kind of expensive. And Norton's Pastrami again, like I think
kind of a dive.
It's kind of a dive, but it's still high quality. It's not
super
like,
good,
you could have a tasty stuff there, but I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of that show. Guy Fieri, I was on his game show. They said Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting called, dude. Dude, you get. Oh, is that Jenny?
Nah, sorry, I don't know who's calling me now.
Yeah, it's 911.
It's the police.
Yeah,
it's Sting.
Sting is like when. Hey, where were we?
Oh, I get like spam calls all day. Do you not get those?
You're the only one.
Really?
No,
I get like suspicious phone calls all day. I'm officially turning my phone on silent. Sorry.
It's good. But Guy Fieri, I was a paid audience member on his game show Minute to Win It back in the era of around 2011, and
that's amazing.
He's got a big heart.
Was he a nice guy?
Definitely, I have no doubt. I think it's clear he's got a good heart. To me, it seems clear.
His son's going to culinary school. I watch Guy Fieri every night with my
God, I was worried you were going to say his son's got colon cancer. Culinary cancer. Wow, imagine
No, he's
that.
going to culinary school. It's a little better than the cancer.
Oh, it's way better. No, it's way better. Gosh. Well, that's cool. Like father, like son. Little phrase I coined.
When you come from the genes of a Fieri, you got to come hot with the dishes. You know? You got to bring it. Gotta bring it.
I couldn't hear what you were saying. It was cum, jeans, Fieri, get something. Yeah, it's great. Hot. Yeah.
Guy Fieri's a great guy, man. He seems like a very chill dude. Mm-hmm. Blessed individual. And he did come to Santa Barbara, and he went to some... Oh, wait. You were telling us how you were on the show. Tell us how you were on the show.
Well... Back in the day, before
what
COVID,
did you have to do?
You could be a paid audience member or extra.
Oh, cool.
And basically, they would have you sit in sectioned portions of the audience and encourage you to applause. Sometimes it would erupt genuinely, spontaneously. Other times, they needed to remind you. But one way or the other, that was more or less your job. You had to clap and laugh.
Cool.
You know, it was this really fun game show. What?
Paid audience member?
$100 an hour.
Oh, that's good.
No. No, it was minimum wage, but it was...
Really? Yeah, but it was paid.
It was paid.
Oh, that's
And it was fun. And back in those days, they paid you in cold, hard cash right at the end. Yeah.
8 hour day?
Whew, yeah, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be 6.
That's still a
or
long
4.
time to be there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think being... Well, okay, I think... Being an audience is fun, but it can be a little denigrating. That, even more so than other background work, is a little bit more interchangeable. So, in no way should your individuality feel recognized, except in some ways, but not in most ways.
What did you have to do?
Well, I just told you, just clap.
Really?
That was it, yeah. And, be silent otherwise.
Oh.
But enjoy the show. And it was pretty easy to do on Guy Fieri's Minute to Win It.
I love it. That's so cool.
They had a minute to win higher and higher sums of money, completing and competing in challenges, obstacles that could be done with household objects.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun. And then more recently, I dove back into the background scene.
Yeah.
And I did a few audience gigs.
There's a scene within the background.
There is. Oh! That's really good.
There you go.
Wait, and so I have a little spin-off theory of that, which I would spout off to any background actor who would listen to me in holding, which was that, everyone plays the role of background in their life. To the vast majority, we are no one. We are the background noise that makes their life complete. Without us, it would be a terrifying world.
Mm-hmm.
They need us, but otherwise, we're nothing. We're just, oh, that's someone living over there, those two kids. But audience. Where were we? The one that I really enjoyed was called Beat Shazam, and the host was Jamie Foxx.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I want to be on that show.
Oh, it's so fun. And
I want to beat Shazam.
Oh man, do you think you could?
I think I could.
It was so you could. You easily could.
I think they cancel it.
Because it was too easy, or what?
Yeah, because
not for all the guests.
Because nerds like me would be trying out for it.
I don't know.
I think they purposely picked people who didn't know much about music.
Yeah, they had a couple Real Housewives who bombed and and like.
I have another friend who knows like one of the producers.
Baloo was on it. Was one of the
amazing.
Special guests? And
yeah.
Man, had a blast. I mean, it's really lucky to be paid audience. Like that's hilarious.
That's so.
That
cool.
You're getting paid to do. Come on, that's hilarious. That's like.
How many do they take? Because I'm assuming they give free tickets away too.
Well, yeah. So you can book it through the show, or not every show, but some studios offer the chance to be booked on a show.
Okay.
So, and there were very tender tales of someone was like, I'm here with my mom. She flew from Ohio just to be here. And it's like, what? Are you kidding? Like,
just to be on beaches.
That's so cool. I love that. And like, there are also ways to, as a tourist, be in a movie for free. For example, well, I don't need to give an example. I just gave, yeah.
But there's opportunities out there.
There are opportunities
to make it into the big screen.
And, man, I hope I didn't violate some kind of non-disclosure agreement just now. I probably did.
You think so? Did they make you sign anything when you get these gigs?
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything about who had been a guest on that show.
Oh, well, you don't have to say the show.
Well, I just did. You can bleep it out.
What show?
I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying a word. Come on, dude. This is...
Hey, man,
high-level secret. Hey, bro.
Hey, bro. We're just trying to get the scoop.
I'm just asking questions.
Don't shoot the messenger, dude.
Well, this is dumb, but I wanted to ask a controversial question.
I'm all for it.
Is rock and roll here to stay?
Rock and roll has maintained its prevalence. No, I don't know. I don't know, man. Is it here to stay?
Yeah, it's eternal. Trick question. It's always here. It's always been here.
It's always here to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think.
Do you daydream a lot?
Yeah, I get lost in thought a lot.
What are your thoughts? What's a theme? Not the theme, not one theme, but what's a theme they kind of go to? I'm gonna lay
for
down.
my daydreams.
Yeah.
I don't know. Last night I had a dream that both of my exes kissed me.
At once?
Nah, separate
one on
dreams.
each cheek?
Separate dreams.
Same
Isn't
night?
that weird? Because I want nothing to do with them.
Let's dive into this.
This is turning to a therapy session.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're here. We're ready. Let's open up, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what that means. But last night I had a dream that I was in my ex's house where I lived with her, and her boyfriend was there. And he chased me out of the house, which has happened before. In real life.
Whoa.
And then the second one.
That's intense.
Was another girl I was with. She kissed me on the lips, and I was like, "What are you doing?" So that was my night last night. And then I woke up this morning like, "What the fuck was that?"
Well, I don't know. I would say for me, generally, extremes are like rehearsing the breakup. It's like the breakup happens even longer on a unconscious or subconscious level. So it's like your brain's almost harassing you. It's like, remember me?
Yeah,
but it's just trying to let it go. I would think, especially if that adversary X is in the picture. Am I like screaming? Am I really loud in this public park?
No, I think it's like I think you're hitting around negative 10 to 12 dB.
Oh no!
And then I'll bump it up to negative 3 in post.
Oh, good.
A little tip for y'all.
Oh, nice.
So, just trying to control the levels here.
Yeah.
But I keep moving around, which probably sounds fucking awful. But we're also not in the studio, so people shouldn't expect like anything crazy.
Yeah,
we're not in the studio. We're here in
just drop your expectations, you elitist listeners.
So I feel like we need to talk a little bit about the changes you've been making,
Oh yeah.
and a little bit of a
Has it
name
come to that?
change, and just what else has been going on in your life. The pronouns, your proper pronouns. Do you want to talk about that kind of stuff, or how do you feel about that? I feel like we need
Yeah,
to
I'm
set
going
the
by
record
Ella
straight.
Richie,
Ella Richie. How'd you come up
but
with that name?
you could call me Ella or Richie or whatever. And she, hers, yes. But hopefully that would come increasingly naturally to people and it wouldn't seem forced.
So
but
you feel like there's maybe like I'll give you guys like a 6 months to get used to it.
I mean,
Like
the
if-
way I feel is that it took me all my life to get to this point.
Yeah.
Why should I expect immediate results
Yeah.
from others? It's like that's not necessarily how the human brain works.
Yeah,
like
totally.
habitually through not bigotry but just habit, you call people what you initially knew them by. And also for myself is like there's the carryover of how I've lived all my life, and that you don't necessarily for me, I don't necessarily stop being who I was, but I evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know though. I'm like very in my head about it, and I feel all of us exist with multiple names in multiple domains, and whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. I think you did make a point there where when someone does transition and change their name, that like there should be a little bit of forgiveness on those of us who've called you Richie for 10 years.
Hey,
I've
fuck
known
off,
you.
dude.
You know what
No, I'm kidding.
You know what I mean? Like,
but like,
calling you Richie for 10 years and now having to switch, like it will take some adjustment, and I have no problem adjusting.
well, I feel
But there's that like reflex, I guess,
sure.
of just saying, "Hey, Richie," and everyone's like, "Oh, I mean," just trying to.
I think
polite.
that's for me. That's a little harder. Is kind of the struggle of the when the stammer that follows. Oh, wait a second, because then it's like, if you're unstable in the mouths of others, it creates a weird feeling of like. And so I mean I'm.
You want people
There
to
are
be.
so many ways to slice it. Like I'm a Taurus. I'm slow to change. I'm little stuck in my ways too.
For sure.
So and I don't want to say because some people there are a lot of ways to say that.
Yeah.
Some people are born with a name within them that wasn't given to them, and then they have to announce somewhere in the course of their life, could be when they're 1 year old, could be when they're 30, could be later, when they say, no, deep within, I've known this name. Others, it kind of arrives to them later on in life from the cosmos. And I've heard
Yeah.
there are societies wherein you don't name a child until the child is named themselves.
Interesting.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
But I would say for me, it kind of, I was just sort of like, well, the name Richie seemed to work, I suppose. Didn't see any reason not to change it.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, as with a lot of gender identity and gender expression, it's kind of tough to exist in this world of where gender is always simultaneously, I think, responsive to outer expectation as much as it is inner existence.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you feel ends up being caught in the mold of the society you're born into. And I don't know, that like, it felt a little bit, my friend Carol Kraft, who some might know as Carol Crabbit on Tim and Eric, we met on a film set, and it was her who recently, a couple months ago, said, well, have you considered getting a stage name to maybe increase your chances of getting roles in Hollywood, more
Interesting.
feminine roles.
Yeah.
And then that kind of like, that just put it shined a light on it where I remembered how much it's like your name itself is a guide towards others to tell you how to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you chose your name, but your name or your title. Like if you went by Captain Zarate, like that would be different, right?
Yeah,
or
totally.
Dr. Zarate.
Totally.
Like and those are titles, not same as names, but it's similar.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a guide, like
Mhm.
how do I perceive you? And so that was just like a kind of oh yeah, like even if I think I look feminine, even if I know I feel feminine, if my name says Richie, people are gonna be like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
And it's weird because others have told me their aunt was named Richie. But it's just a matter of like, what does that generation bring towards that name or that color, like pink
Yeah.
or blue? What does that generation bring to that? And for now, I exist in a world where Richie, I think, is a little bit more like Macaulay Culkin, Richie Rich.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt I gotta adapt. But also with that, with the adaptation comes to learn where you've been living by a status quo all your life, and maybe so it's like so simultaneous that it's hard to really say, because it's like through discovering my own truth, you may say,
Yeah.
or my new truth,
Yeah.
you have to wonder, like, did I live by a truth up to this point, or did I live by a convention, and are those the same thing, or did I live by a habit? And those are all impossible questions.
Yeah.
So you make a change and see the results are, and the results have been like, most people find it pretty easy to adapt, and it's fun. I love it because I think it's a very lovely. It makes me feel lighter. It brings light to my name and to my well-being. So
Mhm.
it's great. But
What was the relationship between you and the name Ella?
not much of one.
Oh, really?
No. It's
Oh,
just
cool.
like, not really. Like, I don't know. So after that fateful meeting with Carol, I was later on the set of, what was that show called? Holy Moly, as an audience member.
Ah.
Wild show on ABC Family.
Nice.
Hopefully it's ABC.
Yeah,
might be another
probably.
family member.
Holy moly.
Yeah, Holy Moly. It's a mini golf show. And
Oh, yes. I saw
You've
a commercial
seen it.
I saw a commercial for it.
yeah,
the
it's
other day.
wild.
Yeah.
So we were there on like one of the last film dates before. Back in the before times.
Yes. Before the plague.
I was just thinking of names like. Gosh, I'm so sorry. Beer doesn't agree with my esophagus
yeah, happens to
apparently.
me
So you might have to edit out a lot of burps. But like,
Authentic burps.
they're craft burps.
So you met this person on the set of
Oh, I didn't meet. Oh yeah, so we met on a set in.
for Holy Moly.
No. She and I met on a different set.
Oh, okay.
But I was on the set that night for Holy Moly and just thinking to myself and letting names kind of come to me. And I think one that sort of drifted into mind was Stella, because back in the day I wrote a story about a young woman with superpowers named Star. And so I was like, well, I like that name, Star. And then so more of a name version of Star is Stella. But Stella's a little like, it felt like a...
Stella!
It
Yeah,
had, like,
yeah.
And that's the funny thing about names. Like, they have connotations. They have concepts.
Yes.
What is his hand? But
Yeah. Stella has like a little baggage around it.
it felt theatrical.
Cultural,
Yeah.
references to it.
It felt like bursting into the room.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
Stella.
it's very theatrical.
Not to say those who are named that carry that always.
Yeah.
In a day and age where the name Karen is very hotly debated.
That
But
name Karen's been ruined.
I think from that, I know, and I feel so badly for my, dare I say, Midwestern, because she was from the Midwest. But no,
Really?
Karen, my piano teacher growing up, was one of, like, salute to Karen. man.
Yeah, totally.
Fucking, she was one of the best teachers of anything I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope she's all right. But anyways, Where was I? Oh yeah, names.
Names, yeah.
Yeah, what gives?
What gives? What gives? So you went from Star to Stella, and then you got to Ella.
Well, those were, yeah, because I'd also thought about Clarissa, because I have this jacket.
Of course,
which
yeah.
I happened to bring. Clarissa explains it all, and I was like, well, that could kind of make sense, because I like carry this.
Shout out to Mitchell Kriegman.
Mitchell Krieg wrote Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah.
And you and I played a show.
Yeah. For his book, Clarissa Explains Everything. Mitchell Kriegman.
Things I Can't Explain.
Things I Can't Explain, yeah. And he had that. He won a raffle. Or no, you run a contest to get that jacket.
Well, so
the denim Clarissa Explains It All jacket.
I will, Willa, Ella. Anyways, that's funny. But in college, because you have to drum it up and act like it meant something. In college, I wrote this senior thesis about names based on this book called Crash by J.G. Ballard. Have you read it?
No.
And I've thought about that recently. I sort of forgot about it, and then it came up in my mind. Names.
Uh-huh.
The lead character of the book is named James, just like the author, James Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
The character in the book is named James Ballard. And so I wrote some like smarty pants thesis about how you can fictionalize your own name, and that one's proper name has within it the metaphorical capacity to be used in context beyond a proper one. And then so ever since, or during that and thereafter, I've been asking, are we our names, and are we only our names? Can you remove yourself from your name? Can you have multiple? And for now, I'm kind of coexisting in a world where legally, conversationally, I might, have different names.
Yeah.
But it's also like when I go out into the wilderness and I'm alone, maybe I don't have a name. Hopefully I don't. Hopefully no one can see me,
Yeah.
And I think all of us need the ability to be free of our names as much as we need the ability to belong to them.
Yeah, I agree.
So those are some thoughts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're finding your true self, and
I don't know.
Do you think you're finding your true self?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I think we're getting closer.
A little bit.
A little bit closer, and that in itself is progress, and taking that time to think to yourself and think like, what do I re-identifying yourself and being yourself is probably the most important part, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's like important to think of a self as an ever-changing process.
Yeah.
And I wasn't not me up into these years. I mean, maybe I wasn't. I mean, I can definitely say about certain times in my life that was not me. I don't want to own that side of me, It's more what that means. It's like that was me, but I don't want to
Yeah.
But like that there are times in my life where I say I it's not me. That wasn't the real me. They didn't see me, but they saw some side of me, unfortunately, that like I don't want to even look at. But I don't know, man. The self is such a wide color wheel.
Totally.
And the tragedy of social media is like, and which of those one tints do you feel within your infinity?
Yeah, and which ones do you decide to post?
Yeah.
The one side of you that I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable showing this side of me.
And I've had a lot of moments of late where I'm like, damn, if I just looked at my social media alone, fuck, like, what an asshole.
You think so?
I think so.
It's nature posts. And
exactly.
Dance videos.
Yeah.
I think that's like the least asshole thing.
But isn't there like a banality in that? Isn't that like what am I saying? Like what am I just stuffing people's minds with soft imagery? Yeah.
Do you feel like you could be maybe making more of your time on social media?
I think I could be making more of my time on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, making more of your time on Earth, on social media, what you post being important. Like feeling like your
I don't even
post
know
should
about
have a little bit more importance.
I
I
don't
feel
know.
that. I feel like that sometimes. Like if I'm going to post something, I want there to be like information and value with it.
I think that's a greater need now for sure. Yeah. I think all of us have a little less tolerance for a post that's sort of clearly simply self-serving.
Yeah.
Or just behavior in general. And then it's also like, well, anyways, yeah.
And like, you know, I've fallen into this trap, but like constantly posting pictures of yourself, you know.
Yeah. Can we get enough of that?
The algorithm rewards your face.
Isn't that weird?
Let's say it.
I've noticed that.
You'll get more likes if you post a picture of yourself, but it makes it so hard. Like I don't post anything without me in it anymore, and I don't know what that. I never posted pictures of me, but I don't know. Maybe that's growth in a way that I'm like okay with seeing myself on the internet. You know.
Right.
I was looking through like music videos of some friends of mine, and just like because I do that, I was like, oh, I want to see people I know on YouTube, like, but I just don't have a lot of friends. I don't know anyone close to me who creates a lot of content for online. And like when I do find music videos of friends, they're like either not in it, or it's just like I want to know the band. Like I want to see the pictures of the people who wrote these songs. Like it's great that you got a really nice music video and you paid a lot of money for it and it looks really nice. You got a nice red camera, but you're not in it. So I don't give a fuck.
Which is so strange because I mean that's a conflict I struggle with in myself in many ways, but it's also like often to see myself gives me a visceral like revulsion.
Yeah,
like
you get used to it though.
Well,
imagine editing yourself like I do. Like having
I do too.
Having to look at because you do those.
No, you're talking to a vain person here. Don't.
It's like I've gotten so used to it because it was first times I had to go back and edit this podcast. I'm like, oh my god, look at my hair. Oh, I look like this. I look like that. But
well, let me quote the Yoga Soup's Eddie Elner or paraphrase him because I always think about this. When he said in a practice, the self is a fragile nest of twigs, and we tend to fixate on one twig as being the self. Yeah. And what happens when that all blows away?
Yeah.
And, you know, the twig can be just like your hair. And how much you often wake up being like, fuck, man, like if everything would be better if my hair were in order. Like,
yeah.
And there's a lot of profundity in what he says. I think people get caught in the superficiality apparently of what it means, but I think it means something very deep. But anyways, to be back about social media is so I mean partly like just posting nature photos was a survival strategy so I don't get so overwhelmed with disgust at my own face. But it's also like my hope on some level is to say not that they're one and the same, but they can coexist, that you can be sort of aware of your own beauty in a larger context that's beyond yourself. And a lot of our world now is kind of like you got to frame the tunnel vision of your life as beautiful and kind of not see the wider picture. You gotta hone in on what makes you and don't look beyond that, like, because then you're not you anymore. But it's like, well, but we all exist in this collaborative network. Like, who's to say where you end and begin?
That's true.
Anyways, but then, I have this yearning desire of like, God, I gotta post more flesh or something. You know, they say like the part of you that wants to be seen, and so you sometimes display it in the most public of ways. And I have yet to reach that, but we're getting there, I guess.
We're growing, man. We're
everyone's growing. The
everyone's
audience
growing.
is growing.
We're changing. We're trying to find the best version of ourselves.
But then, who are you when you're like 80-something and your body's crumbling?
Is that the best
like,
version of myself?
Maybe it is.
Where do I peak and where do I decline?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there are those life stories of innumerable of which I can name where you know you live out your passions every day and you're just remembered for the way you died.
I am
like
very
the embarrassing
prepared.
way you died.
I am very prepared for the embarrassing way that I go.
Yeah. Well, you could kind of have it all like Elvis.
Didn't he die on the toilet?
Exactly.
There
you know, and like everyone knows
Dude, he was
that
like
the sort of
something.
undignified way. No.
No.
Still a king.
And people like to complain about his size, his obesity, or whatever, but he was like doing speed. And yes, being that weight and doing like crazy pills is not a good way to go. You're putting a lot of stress on your heart. So, whatever, man. It wasn't because he was eating peanut butter sandwiches. He was Elvis.
Peanut
he
butter,
was the king.
bacon, banana sandwiches.
Yeah, that's
please,
not good.
Please.
Yeah, bacon,
No,
banana.
but it's just he and other kings and queens in pop culture. I think is like his death was partly participatory by the wider world that drove him to it. Unintentionally, but
it's those dang drugs that speed up your heart.
Those crazy drugs, man.
Those crazy drugs. Mama Cass, same thing. They said she died eating a sandwich. Probably drank too much and did too much speed.
Do you think the kids of today will be having similar conversations about Lil Peep and the lead singer of...
Oh, that's right. Lil Peep has passed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like what are going to be the legendary...
Yeah, we had like
rock
Jim
and roll
Morrison.
deaths. Like, are people like 30 years from now going to be like Janice, man?
Janice.
Mama Cass.
Everyone. It's going to be Little Peep, XXXTentacion, Nipsey Hussle.
And fair enough.
Fair enough. Like those, well, especially
because I'm not
because
crying over General Custard or some shit. You know, like some 1800s.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's history.
Abraham Lincoln.
I need someone in my life, dude.
I just watched something.
Just learned he died the other day.
Dude, I watched a bunch of stuff on Lincoln the other night.
Sure. Did you watch? What did you watch?
I watched this like random old show where they're like you had to guess this person's secret, and there's this 96-year-old man, and like it was from the 60s, right? And he was 5 years old, and he was in the audience when Lincoln was shot. It's on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he says he remembers hearing the bang, seeing the president shot, and John Wilkes Booth jumping off the terrace to break his leg in the middle of the theater.
Wow.
I was like, what?
That's a Forrest Gump moment.
I was like, that's a real Forrest. Now, that's some real Forrest Gump moment shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Well,
damn, was the play good? I mean,
did they finish the play?
Yeah. Damn.
Well, damn. Should we wrap it?
It's been a crazy time, Ruben. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on the pod. I'm glad we got to talk about everything.
We've pretty much covered it all.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, man.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
See you then. How'd that go for you?